as always, I'm Brandon Gaudin. Charles, you talked about storylines in this one. I think it begins and ends with our two quarterbacks. Certainly two of the best in the business.
And nowadays, I don't think you can get by for long periods of time without a top-flight quarterback. The way the game is played, with all the responsibility he has and how the game flows through him, if he's not on the top of his game, your team's not going to benefit at all.
The kicker for the Saints, Will Lutz, has it teed up, and here we go from New Orleans. That's fielded in the end zone, and no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Aaron Rodgers getting set to lead the Green Bay Packers offensively. Is it fair to say, Charles, that Rodgers has quietly had another sensational season? I mean, you compare him with some of the other quarterbacks in the league, he just does not throw interceptions.
I think what people miss, and this is just my own opinion, not only does he not throw interceptions, he doesn't turn the ball over in the pocket with a lot of fumbles, but people often equate with guys who don't throw a lot of interceptions.
Hold up, I need to change something. There you go.
With simply dinkers and dunkers throwing the football. Aaron Rodgers is anything but that. And when he gets outside the pocket, he's not taking the 5-yard check down. He wants that 50-yard throw downfield. He throws to hurt a defense. So when you put it all together, doesn't throw interceptions, yet wants to push the ball downfield, it's even more remarkable because going into the Chicago game in Week 15, he had gone 232 straight passes without throwing an interception heading into that game. That's pretty phenomenal.
Rodgers now on first down. Man open, that's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. A gain of 6 there on first. 6 yards was the pickup on the last completion, so here's 2nd and 4. Rodgers again now. And he hits the former Saint, Jimmy Graham. And he'll be brought down at the 48-yard line. A gain of 5, good enough for the first down. Now the man from UTEP, this is Aaron Jones. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be 2nd down. On 2nd down now, it's Jones. 4 yards on the pickup there as they get it back to a more manageable 3rd and 7.
You got to give kudos to your offensive line and the guy carrying the ball because they were in a 2nd and long situation. It seemed pretty dire, but they brought it back to 3rd and manageable with that run.
Here's Rodgers to throw, and that is incomplete.
Had an open man that time, but ended up putting a little too much heat on it, don't you think, partner?
Absolutely. Just needed a touch more air under it. Instead, he fired an absolute bullet. And the punt team on now as this one's sent away. Out of bounds and close. The question, was it a touchback? No. They'll say it crossed out at the 2-yard line. Excellent placement, and off that bounce, Charles, I didn't know where it was going to go. It can be an inexact science as to where they place it, but they say the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know how they really determined that. And let's face it, at the end of that play, one side's going to be happy, the other team's going to be unhappy. So what do they do, shorten the hypotenuse? I mean, how do they figure that out? You know that stuff. You're the smart guy.
And got his man complete. And he will finally be taken down up at the 43. Let's go. A big play. Breeze finding Thomas. 41 yards. They took a real chance there, throwing deep from their own end zone.
Yeah, just think about it this way. If you take that shot, which they just did, you're giving those pass rushers an extra chance to get you. Your escape hatch behind you is gone because the end line is there. Yet at the same time, they took the gamble, and boy, did it pay off.
10 yards on the pickup there, and it'll be 2nd down.
Well, from their point of view, this game could not be starting out much better, could it? Force a punt on defense, and now they're moving it crisply on offense.
Crisply, I like that. Yeah, moving it very, very well. Looks like the defense on their heels a little bit. You put a score in here, long way to go, but you're right, that's a heck of a start.
Yeah, and I think this is where the play caller is looking at his play sheet and saying, do I have that dagger play? Do I have that play and just finish him off right now? Because I think they'd love to gain that big advantage early.
Breeze's throw on target to Cook. Touchdown, New Orleans! Jared Cook, 35 yards as his guys are able to strike first here in this opening quarter. An ideal start for them, really. You force the punt, and then you go down and score.
And you've got to see a fist pump on the sideline from the head coach, don't you? Because he's turned into his bench, and he's telling his team, this is how we prepare. Force the punt, go downfield and score. I told you guys, it's just like a boxer in the gym preparing for the fight. Now we get to turn it all loose.
A drive there of just 4 plays, and it ends with a touchdown for New Orleans. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Packers getting ready to go back at it offensively. We talked earlier about Aaron Rodgers and another sensational season for him. Look, what was weird the last 2 years was looking at the playoff picture without the Green Bay Packers. Well, they're going to be back in football this January. Double digits in wins again. And I think for Matt LaFleur, if there was a rookie coach of the year, he'd certainly be in line for that award.
And he should be in line for the award just to be coach of the year. Remember, his team didn't make the playoffs last year. So much discussion in the offseason. Would he mesh with his quarterback, Aaron Rodgers? And how would a young coach like him take over a team and guide that locker room? Well, heading into the down stretch of the season, he had his team at 11-3. That's pretty phenomenal. Not only that, in the proud history of the Green Bay Packers, they've never had a rookie coach take his team to the playoffs in the first season, not even Vince Lombardi.
Wow, and he's going to do that. By the way, it's in the rearview mirror by a ways now, but have you thawed out from that Week 15 game?
No.
Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Sheldon Rankins abruptly ends that play with a sack. And they weren't in zone coverage, they were in man, and each man did his job.
And that looked like vintage, old-school coverage, didn't it? Man coverage reminded me of an old Raiders team. They had a Hall of Famer at one corner and a Defensive Player of the Year at the other, and they just locked people down.
Here's Sherrills.
Let's go, baby! Let's go!
After one, 7-0 on EA Sports. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. Breeze now to throw. And nearly picked off there, almost intercepted. Instead, second down. CD, with that incompletion, let's talk AFC playoff picture. I think you and I agree that if you put together any sort of power rankings, we put Baltimore number 1, certainly in the AFC. But you look ahead to the playoffs getting started on January 4th. Who do you see as their main competitor for that Lamar Hunt trophy?
Well, tradition and us not wanting to be wrong dictates that we say New England next. And rightly so, because of the number of Lombardi trophies they've won, how they've always played at this time of year. But the bottom line to me is the prime contenders right now for Baltimore, Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes has gotten together. The defense is playing better. And Buffalo really showed me something when they beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh on a Sunday night in Week 15.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. And Thomas has it. Thomas barreling ahead. He's going to go out of bounds, but he takes this one down just shy of the 20. He'll get 15 and a Saints first down.
I like watching the wide receiver screen because it's a real teamwork play. Because guess what? The guy catching the ball, he'll get all the credit.
And he's going to go down. They sack him back right around the 30. Preston Smith comes in for the sack.
Now, we talk about players blitzing all the time. I often laugh and sometimes call it just straight-ahead pursuit. What a running start right back to the backfield for him.
Yeah, it really didn't give anybody a chance to get up there and stop him.
No, I mean, that's really, really difficult. You're asking a whole lot anyway, but when he gets that kind of a start and comes through clean, oftentimes the advantage definitely goes to the defensive player.
And he'll be brought down inside the 20 at the 19. They'll wind up getting 10 back as that sets him up for third down. On third down, here's Kamara. 4 yards on the pickup there, but it's going to take him to fourth down.
That's a really good job right there. Just kept stringing that play out, pushing him further and further towards the sideline. Really good fundamentals by that defense.
He was trying to put his foot in the ground and turn upfield. He just couldn't.
No, they really had a picket fence in front of him. No room to find to get upfield.
Now on fourth down here, that pass knocked away and incomplete. Adrian Amos, the safety, able to make the play. And with that incompletion, you know, Charles, one of the big storylines in the final few weeks of the season lies in the AFC South. Tennessee and Houston battling back and forth. Houston won round 1, week 15, a victory in Nashville. But which of those two teams do you think has the potential to go deeper in the playoffs?
Well, Tennessee just lost at home to Houston, and now we'll have to go on the road to play them again in Week 17. So I would say, on the surface, you would think Houston. They have the quarterback as well in Deshaun Watson that scares everyone. But I'm picking Tennessee as a team that could go deeper because of their defense. That's really a top-5 defense on any given Sunday. Their ability to rush the passer, their ability to play the ball in the air. I like that Tennessee team, and I think Ryan Tannehill, the switch to him at quarterback, has really energized that club.
On second down, it's Jones. And from the 25, they work this to the 29, a gain of 4.
Well, if you're a football guy, that's a pretty run because everyone is in sync right there. Obviously, the guy carrying the ball, but how about the people up front? Leverage, athleticism, they created some nice space for him.
To throw, it's Rodgers. Well, the two men come together, and it's incomplete. Excellent work defensively, brings up fourth down. Problems on third down so far in this first half. Relatively small sample size, but they're now 0 for 3.
And the average in the league, somewhere around 40% on third down for offenses. So what's the answer to this? Either convert them or don't get to third down in the first place. Get your big chunks of yards on first and second down.
1:53 remaining in this first half of play. Coming up at halftime in a little less than 2 minutes, we'll send you to Orlando where Jonathan Coachman is standing by. He'll have highlights and analysis. He's got it at the 15. Touchdown, New Orleans. Michael Thomas, 65 yards. And the Saints are able to strike quickly for 6. Well, yes, Michael Thomas is a volume receiver, but he can also make some really big plays, especially with Drew Brees throwing the football.
I love the way you described it. Volume receiver who could also make big plays. In other words, if you underestimate him, he'll run past you or he'll just jump over the top of you and continue to make those big plays.
Lutz with the extra point, and it's now 14-0. And they're able to get the connection on the long touchdown pass. And that's one of the easiest drive summaries you'll ever see. One play, touchdown. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. We get a look at the Saints' defense as they file into position. And a big reason they've got the lead here in the first half, some of these hits we're going to see here.
Almost like they're a group of superheroes, right? Something out of a comic book. Boom, pow, biff. They are really playing well and making things happen on their side of the ball.
Taking me back to my childhood a bit.
There you go. You had a collection, didn't you?
I did. The Packer offense ready to get their next drive underway. Already down 2 touchdowns here in the first half. This becomes a pretty important drive, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and a lot of the teams script plays. We know that, right? They have a script to start the ball game, and typically those scripts can between 12 and 24, 25 plays. Down 2 touchdowns early, probably not very deep into their script.
And the Saints pressure gets him. Brought down for a sack. Give the sack to David Onyemata, the product of Nigeria by way of Canada. The Packers going to use one of their timeouts as they'll stop it with just over a minute to go before halftime. So that complicates things a bit here. 18 yards to go now on second down. Throwing is Rodgers. And an incomplete pass. That'll stop the clock here with just under a minute to play in half number 1. An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on third down. They'll run with a backup. This is Williams. And he's stopped at the 44. It's also a gain of 4. And now it's fourth down. Call it a gain of 4, but not enough. The punt team going to need to be summoned here on fourth down.
Well, the guys who are paid to make the tackles deserve some kudos there, but I think they deserve even bigger ones because in that situation, they had to be thinking pass. Loosened up defense, going to pass coverage. Instead, maybe they surprised them a little bit running the ball, yet they rallied to it and stopped them well short of a first down.
Getting set for their next drive, the New Orleans offense. Throwing on first down is Breeze. And nearly picked off. Surprising to see a defender of his caliber let it get away, but it does get away and it's second down. After the incomplete pass, here now is 2nd and 10. Now Breeze. He's got a man complete. Thomas barreling ahead. And they finally get him down, but not before he reaches the 34. There you have it. Halftime quickly over. Third quarter, here we go. Set now to go for the third quarter. The Saints have the lead and set to receive the kick. This is taken at the 3. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get it up to the 29-yard line. Now we'll see what Michael Thomas and the rest of the offense has in store here. And now he's inching closer to a 200-yard game. He's been so solid.
And he's really denting the pride of the guys playing defense, too, because there's certain barriers that you just don't want to give up. You never want to give up a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver. He's closing in on 200 yards. Wow, that's a really big game.
Well, let's get back to the playoff picture. We talked about the AFC. Let's look at the NFC. The race starting to come into focus. We know most of the teams, Seahawks, 49ers, Saints, and Packers all in. Vikings in good shape. How do you handicap this race? It seems like anyone can beat anyone.
I think you're spot on because if you were going into the playoffs with these teams that we're going to talk about, who would you make the absolute favorite? It could be anyone, right? It could be Seattle. It could be San Francisco. It could be New Orleans. I know Minnesota's probably going to come in as a wild card. Green Bay will come in as a division champ, it looks like. But
down the numbers. There he goes. Touchdown, New Orleans. Jared Cook, his second touchdown of the afternoon. And the Saints able to stretch that lead out further. Always important to get the first score of the second half. Now you start to pull away a little bit and get some breathing room going.
And now we find out about the fortitude of the group that's behind because they were counting on getting into the game a little bit more, right? Maybe they get the first score. That doesn't happen. It looks almost insurmountable, but it's not. Let's see how hard they play the rest of the game.
Luck's good on the extra point, and it's now 21-0. So they only needed 3 plays on that drive. And it all culminates in the Saints touchdown. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This fielded at the 2. And he'll make it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. So here are the Packers now. They get set for their first possession of half number 2. And their halftime hole now even deeper. They need a big drive here just to answer the first touchdown of the second half scored against them.
They were down at the half. Now, as you mentioned, they're down a little bit bigger, but no time for discouragement. Just got to get back to it, right? Put your shoulder against the boulder and start pushing and try and get back to where you were to start the half.
On 2nd and 7, Rodgers over the middle, and it's incomplete.
Let's face it, if you want to get back into the game, these are the kind of throws you got to hit. He's wide open right there. Got to be able to get it to him, don't you think?
And those are the throws that haven't been available to them every time he's dropped a pass. Yeah, that's a big miss. Now Rodgers. And that is incomplete. Oh, he had a defender right there with him to force that to the ground. And fourth down now coming up. Another drive comes and goes, still nothing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and when the second half comes, you know, it's real easy to get discouraged and wonder if you're ever going to get things started. You just got to fight through it. Got to keep pounding away.
Sherrill's on the return. That bulldozing through multiple tackles. Great blocking on the return. It springs him for 25. And the Saints will take over with a first down and 10. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. Breeze now. That'll be complete to Cook. Still fighting for more. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. Good yardage after the catch as that play good for 30 and a first.
I know we love our jobs, and pretty much any play we see, we're pretty, excited about. But big plays, let's face it, that's what we absolutely live for. How about that one?
That was great. And what our camera missed was the fist bump from the sideline after that catch. They're fighting. That's a big game. And this will be caught inside the 10. What a grab. A good pick up there on 20 yards.
It's got to the point where we see guys like that make that type of a catch. Not fair goes through my brain. That size, that speed, and now they're acting like wide receivers too.
Yeah, tight end one-handed catches. They're kind of like wide receiver one-handed catches nowadays.
Just not right.
And he is into the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans. A 9-yard touchdown run. And the Saints able to stretch that lead out further. And, Charles, when you catch that toss going right or left early, but right in this instance, do you go straight for the pylon? Is that where you're going?
Well, typically you want to try and maneuver people a little bit so you have some space to get to the pylon. So I want to make sure I try and move them a little bit to the inside, and in this case to the left, so I can get to the right side and get to that pylon and wink at it as I go by.
The drive there only spanning 3 plays. And the capper came from Alvin Kamara on the touchdown run. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This one fielded at the 5. And he'll take this one near the 25, call it the 26-yard line. And Green Bay getting ready to go as they take the field. These guys had to punt last time. It has not been a very fruitful game offensively thus far. They haven't even made a trip to the red zone.
And I know that everyone's going crazy on that sideline because that drives you berserk to come off the field, not really move the ball well. As you said, not even get to the red zone, let alone, not even put points on the board. They've got to just take a deep breath, relax, try and figure out what is working, and call more of that.
Well, Charles, while we have a second, we talked about the NFC playoff picture, but I wanted to get your thoughts on a hot topic right now in NFL circles. That's awarding a home game to every division winner, regardless of record. It's happened twice in this decade that we've seen a 7-9 team in Seattle get a home game and a 7-8-1 Carolina team get one. Where do you stand on this? Because there's a scenario where you could have a 13-win team from the NFC West traveling to face an 8-win team from the NFC East.
I know I'm a dinosaur on this one. Absolutely. I love the division champ getting a home game. I don't care what the record is, and I know it sounds wrong, and we're in this society now where everything has to be fair and right. And we would like that, and I would like that too for most big topics. But in sports, it's actually kind of cool when these things happen. Remember, Seattle at 7-9 hosted the defending Super Bowl champs New Orleans and beat them. That big Marshawn Lynch run that we'll remember forever. Carolina 7-8-1, they actually lost at home in their playoff game. So you don't know how it's going to turn. I like division champs winning it and getting a home game, even when the records are kind of messed up.
I'm with you. You're making me smile.
How about that? You and I sitting in the home, 2 old dudes going, that's the way it ought to be.
An incomplete pass on first down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Here's a throw that's taken in by the tight end Cook. 12 yards there, good for a Saints first down. All the yards, completions, just another play that's a feather in the cap of the great career of Drew Brees.
And wasn't he supposed to be too small to be an effective quarterback in the NFL?
How'd that work out?
Yeah, well, his footwork, I think, really sets him apart. Remember, he was a junior tennis champion, beat Andy Roddick, the future U.S. Open champion, back when they were in the juniors. I think that footwork really helps him be the great quarterback he is now. The end result was brute force on brute force, but think about everything that's going on if you're playing defensive tackle. You're dealing with at least one blocker across from you, trying to deal with him, shed him, and maybe even a second one before you have to try and make the tackle on the big guy.
4 receivers now in the formation. 3 to the left, 1 to the right on 2nd and 7. Now, meanwhile, here's a 2nd down throw that's knocked away and incomplete. Blake Martinez, the linebacker, was there in coverage to disrupt. Now Brees on 3rd down. And he finds Cole. And he's taken down but able to slip across the 35. It'll be a Saints first down on a gain of 16 yards. And on that last play there, he's over 400 yards passing now.
You know what that generally means?
Success.
That, and it means you really didn't miss opportunities. Usually very accurate. The ball's getting to the right place. Guys are making yardage after the catch to help you out that way. I mean, the whole team has picked it up. And don't forget, that means the offensive line has had to pass protect pretty well, too.
Everyone dialed in.
The goal for any offense versus his own defense, find the holes where guys are available and put the ball on the receiver before any defender can step up and fill it.
They did it well there. Perfectly executed crossing route. 5 yards on the catch there, brings up 2nd down. So on that play, defense was in the zone. They ran a crossing route offensively, but the defense there, you got to be good with communication, don't you?
You certainly do, and it's not something...
And he's going to be taken down. Pressure gets there back at the 39-yard line. Zadarius Smith showing his strength and quickness there, a loss of 4. Back now here live in New Orleans. There's Brees. A lot of happy faces in the crowd at this point as their guys have a big lead here to start quarter number 4. 4th quarter, you've got the big lead. If you're coaching, Charles, you still taking shots like that downfield?
I'd be a little more concerned with running some clock and making sure you're taking care of the lead, because you keep flinging it around, you throw a couple of picks, you can put yourself in jeopardy.
And they're going to fake it. He wants to throw it here. It would have been a long field goal. The fake doesn't work out. And the Packers D comes up with a big stop. So good field position for the Packers as they come up 1st and 10 at their own 46. To throw is Rodgers. And his throw here is incomplete. Devontae Adams, the intended receiver. And that'll bring up 2nd down. So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on 1st down. Rodgers now to throw. Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. The sack coming from defensive end Cameron Jordan.
We've been around this league for a while, and many coaches never pull their starting quarterback, almost no matter the situation. In this case, though, I think he's got to make a decision. He's taking a pretty good beating out there.
And with the deficit, maybe not wanting to risk an injury. A battle for it, and it's intercepted. Picked off by the linebacker, Demario Davis. And they are going to set up shop at the 32-yard line.
Well, this defensive pressure has been constant all game long. The pass rush, the coverage, they've all been excellent, and now they'll tack on an interception here as this one continues to slip just further and further.
And that's caught inside the 35. And he is into the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans. Ted Ginn, 68 yards, as his guys continue to put this one out of reach.
Well, this is exactly where I expect teams to take a shot. Right after a turnover, you count on the defense being a little bit jumbled coming out on the field, maybe catch them back on their heels, and that's exactly what they did there. They threw it downfield and really created a big play.
Yeah, you said jumbled. They were the definition of jumbled defensively. One play and into the end zone. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. The Green Bay offense now about ready to take possession here. And let's face it, this drive is not going to have any bearing on this game, but it's kind of important for one reason, isn't it?
It certainly is. You got to get points. And, okay, all right, I'm being facetious here. But you get points, you feel a little bit about yourself as you move on to the next one.
Well, the trials and tribulations of being a quarterback in this league, it's tough. It's got to be wearing on him out there.
Well, he has been sacked a number of times. He had an interception, so I'm going to give a Scotian credit for hanging in there and trying to make something happen, despite the amount of pressure he's been under this entire game.
And not much to speak of. Call it a 1-yard gain up to the 26. The Packers on third down. As bad as you can be. 0 for 7 thus far. This is 3rd and 9. This is Jones. And he will lose yardage here back at the 23-yard line. He has just been completely taken out of this game. We're in the 4th quarter. He's single digits in the rushing department.
And I know we look at him because the numbers do go to his production. But how about the guys blocking for him? They don't just have his number as a ball carrier. They've got the number of the offensive line and the other guys because they're getting to him before he can get started.
Refusing to go down. 12 yards on the return that time. And the offense will take over with a new set of downs. Out onto the field comes New Orleans. With this lead and the football, things obviously looking good, but maybe, you've taught me this before, maybe this is where the defense is hoping that the offense helps them preserve that shutout that they've got going.
And it has to be in the minds of the offense that they know how rare it is to get a shutout. So take care of them, protect them, take care of the ball, move it downfield, run the clock down. You don't want your defense to have to go on the field again the rest of the game. Reward them.
He gets it to Thomas. 6 yards is the pickup, and that'll lead to a 3rd down. The Saints on 3rd down. They've converted 3 out of 5 thus far. This is 3rd and 4. Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Slipping into the backfield for the sack was Owen Burks. So we were looking at each other up here in the booth when they went for that, saying, oh, wow, talk about trying to add insult to injury.
Some teams are just like that. You know, some philosophies, some coaches are like, look, when I got a chance to put some more points on the board, I don't care what the situation, I'm going to do it. And they're also the same coaches as a general rule that if someone does it to them, you won't hear people protest out of them. That's just who they are.
Looking to throw on 2nd down. Rodgers, a dump underneath to Jones. And he's able to get it down to the 25-yard line. They have the catch on 2nd down, but it didn't help at all, and now they're looking at 3rd down here. Just 2 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter of what has been a one-sided affair. So it's Packer football here as we welcome you back. And let's see what they've come up with offensively after having time to talk it over. Now a 3rd down throw, but it misses the target, incomplete. Another wayward pass. You know, things started out poorly in this game, and to be frank, they just really haven't gotten much better.
And all that does is embolden the secondary. They feel good about what's going on, and they just play better and better.
And the 12-year veteran knocks it right through, and they'll get back 3, but this remains a large deficit. Well, it's a Pyrrhic victory at best, but, Charles, no team wants to get shut out, so it's hard to blame them for taking the 3 there.
You can't blame them one bit. It hasn't been the best performance, that's for darn sure. But there is something to be said for fighting to avoid the goose egg, and they're at least trying to finish out strong.
Back out onto the field now comes the New Orleans offense. And this game comfortably in hand. The scoreboard speaks for itself, but you still got your starting quarterback out there. When do you go to the backup, let him get some time?
And that's one of the great questions in the NFL, Brandon, because I'm just going to tell you, in the 2015 season, I commentated on 3 games in a row that were blowouts. And none of them did the starting quarterback ever come out of the game for the team that had a big lead. And in each instance, I asked the coaches later on, why didn't you do that? And they all looked at me and said, just don't really do that in the NFL. We know these guys play, and we just play them all the way through. Now, in certain situations, they will take them out, but for the most part, They're not as worried and concerned about getting him out of the game, and that's always puzzled me a little bit.
And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful? You're losing, playing against a good quarterback like he is, to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme, and you can drop anyone out of your defensive front, defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
And this is going to result in another first down as the tackle's made at the Packers' 38-yard line.
When this offense can get their tight ends involved, they can move the football. Here, a nice route, able to look it in, and picks up the first down.
So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. That's the big play's going to get even bigger as penalty flags are down, and I believe they're going to get a face mask penalty tacked on. They're down here in the 4th, and that personal foul penalty is not going to help.
No, in these types of situations, players will tell you that's extra intensity. From where we sit, it's actually frustration, not a good play.
What do you think I'm doing?
Inside handoff.
So the ball's moved to about the 1 after the penalty, 1st and goal. Following the penalty, it's Kamara. And he will get into the end zone. It's another touchdown. This thing is ugly. So another score there, and often you talk about the 3 phases of the game. Defense, offense, special teams. It's been a clean sweep in this one, hasn't it?
It certainly has. They've been pretty dominant throughout this game. And privately, the head coach will add a 4th phase. That's the coaching. And he'll tell the ownership that as he tries to negotiate a new contract off of this win.
They are looking strong here in the 4th quarter. Lutz with the extra point, and the lead will swell by 1 more. So the drive there took 6 plays, and the capper came from Alvin Kamara on the touchdown run. After the touchdown, Lutz to kick it off. This is taken about 7 yards deep, and no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Now trotting out there, the Packers getting ready to go. They've lost this one. Their offense has struggled. Do they try to put together something here at the end just to take into next week?
Yeah, sometimes teams want to do that and coaches want to. I remember one time I was on a team and we were losing late in the game like this, and you knew it was lost. It was over, right? And the coach called a running play and pretty much said to everyone, I want to see something executed well before we get out of here. And that was the message to the team.
Just something to build on.
Just something to build on, get it done, and maybe we can look at that and say, we'll get better as we go forward.
Here's Rodgers. Got an open man. It's Valdez-Scantling. And he's going to get this down to the 35-yard line. That'll wind up a gain of 27 on the catch and run. A big offensive explosion helped leading them to victory. And the defensive guys, they're just saying, hey, put those points up every week. We'll just keep winning.
They will gratefully accept them, won't they? It makes their job that much easier when they're scoring that many points. Allows them to play with a totally different style and a different flow.
Alright, guys. That's going to be it for my video. GG. Green Bay sucks. Patriots, Saints have a best. Peace. Wait, what? 2 people in here. Alright, I'll play one more. Oh, they both left when I said that.